Do you want to discuss it now that we are recording?
No, I don't want to discuss that. You refuse to tell me anything personal. It's fine.
What noise?
It's fine. We've been in this relationship for quite a while now. It's almost coming on a year on our anniversary that the good VisualWood has been combined.
Okay,
to
all
create
right.
Captain Planet. And
I think I know Isn't your birthday like sometime in summer-ish? No? When's your birthday?
So, all right. So this is what happened. I said, "Oh, when is your birthday?" And he was like, December 25th." Obviously, he's trying to say that he's Jesus. So let's go ahead and offend religious people right now.
You're the one that always throws. I make the subtle suggestions that only the freaks would get anyway, and then it's fine. But you just throw it out there.
Wait,
for the layman.
The freaks?
You don't want to piss off the layman.
The freaks? Oh my gosh. What is up, guys, and welcome to the VisualWood Podcast, episode number 21. We are now legal to drink on the VisualWood Podcast.
I shuddered a little bit there. You can't make that same joke twice.
What do you mean?
You can't make...
At 18, you can't drink. At least not here. Now you can drink.
Yeah, because you're a baby-coddled country, aren't you?
Excuse me?
Oh, well, everything in the States is like, oh, you can't do it to... Like, people think that we're a nanny state, and we get to do a lot more stuff. Like, everywhere in Europe mostly gets to do everything by the time they're like 16 or 18. But in the States, it's like, oh, no, you can't do stuff until you're... Like, aren't there some of your laws that are like, you can't even rent cars or something till you're 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What's going on? You're not an adult.
It sucks. It kind of sucks. But no, I rent a car, but I guess it's something different. You can rent cars. You just need like a cosigner or something like that. It all depends. It depends on the company, I think. Because we rent cars all the time, but like they're like those zip cars that you can like... Basically, what they do is that they give you a card, right? And you press it against the window, and it opens the car.
Really?
You get to use the car. Yeah, you get to use the car for like an hour or 2 hours. It goes hourly, and it's like $8 an hour. So and free gas as well. So
how does that compare to getting a cab?
A cab would be way more expensive. A cab would be like a certain amount depending on how far you're going. Plus, you don't get to drive where you want. So $8 for an hour, free gas, drive as much as you want, anywhere you want. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. It's pretty insane, actually. I bet people hearing this right now will be like, "Dang, I want a zip car."
Are you like working for some car?
Oh yeah, they're our new sponsor. They're our new sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Zipcar. Get it here. In only certain areas.
What's their slogan? Do you know what their slogan is?
Zip.
Quickly opening up Google.
Have you ever zipped up your pants and thought of a car? Well, now you can with the new Zip car.
Okay, it's actually car sharing, an alternative to car rental and car ownership. So
there you go.
I'll do that for you. Welcome to Zipcar. This is the Zipcar podcast. Zipcar is the world's largest car sharing and car club service. It's an alternative to traditional car rental and car ownership.
Okay. Oh, by the way, guys. I wanted to mention this because anyways, the comment section is messed up. I mean, I know a lot of people know this already, but it was really messed up this time around. For some reason, I get like half the comments, right? So if I'm missing your questions and stuff like that, it's because the comment section is not showing it for some reason. I don't know what they did to it and why is it not fixed yet. I mean, they fixed all the other stuff, but for some reason, I'm seeing half of it.
Like, so to be clear, you're seeing, it says like, oh, there are X number of comments.
Like almost 300, right? And I'm only seeing 100 in like 10.
That are actually listed on the video.
Yes.
Have you tried, have you been on just like the show all comments section? I guess you probably have.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work properly. Yeah.
Well, for me, it says you only have 171 comments anyway.
Wow.
Which is how many you said, I don't know, maybe YouTube's just being weird.
Yeah, YouTube is being weird. No, I said 110, and it tells me on my official
Matt Visual sealed approval section.
Yeah, that I have 264 comments on that video.
Wow.
More than likes. Holy crap. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, that YouTube problems, first world, GG.
First world
G on it.
YouTube problems, GG.
YOLO swag. Had to add that in there.
I'm sure there's some people that really appreciate that you said that, so I think that was a wise move to make. So yeah, well, how many questions have we got today? I've got a couple of topics for us as well, don't I?
All right, let's start with the topics, man. There's tons of stuff going on.
Okay,
so much hype. Woo!
So I want everyone to... I'll play a game with you as well, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I read this thing. It's basically like a horoscope thing. And I'm doing this off of memory, so it might not be amazing. But it's kind of a weird thing, right? Okay, you need to close your eyes, okay? And just picture things and describe to them, like, the first thing that comes to your head for them, okay?
Okay.
So you're imagining a desert, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in that desert is a cube, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what that cube looks like. Wait, get it in your mind what that cube looks like. It could be big.
Companion
could be small,
cube.
All right, yeah, but not like...
It's pretty big. It's as big as a house.
Okay, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just try and not do like video game stuff necessarily. Okay, and then there's also a ladder. There's also a ladder in this in this scene. Okay, so get an idea for what that ladder's like. Is it leaning on anything? Is it on the floor? It's leaning on the cube. Is it floating?
It's leaning on the cube to reach the top of the cube because it's a really big cube.
Okay, all right. So now there's a horse somewhere. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So think about the color of the horse. Where's it going?
Brown.
Is it stood there?
Is it standing there?
It's brown, is it? Okay.
Eating some cactus and getting prickles in his mouth.
Okay.
And his tongue.
Okay.
Oh, he's yelling. Oh, he's acting a little crazy. He's doing that donkey thing where they shoot their legs up and stuff.
You mean the donkey thing that horses don't do because horses aren't donkeys?
Yes.
Okay, and lastly, now there's a storm in the scene, okay? Now how big is the storm? Is it overhead? Is it really far away, just a speck on the horizon?
It's semi-close. It's coming towards the cube and the horse. The poor horse, its tongue is prickled with lots of cacti stuff.
Okay, and lastly, now there's some flowers in the scene. And how many are there? Think of that. What do they look like? Okay, and that's the exercise, right?
I'm seeing some oasis with the flowers around it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's supposed to tell me everything I need to know about you. What color was the cube?
The cube was gray.
It was a grey cube. That's quite boring. Apparently, like, a grey cube is like... A big cube means you're full of yourself, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm quite happy with who I am, blah, blah, blah. Self-confidence. We've talked about this a few times recently. So, you're okay there. But, like, the colour, like, if you picked, like, a black cube, it would mean you're, like, quite guarded about yourself. If you picked, like, when I was doing it, I imagined, like, a really, really small, transparent cube. And then it was like, oh yeah, you have low self-esteem, but you let everything in or some shit, right? And but if you pick like a grey one, I don't even know what that means. The amount of flowers that you have is meant to be how many kids you want. So like,
whoa, there was a lot of flowers in that oasis. I don't think this thing is working for me.
Okay.
I thought of a big companion cube. I was thinking about the Halo trailer when he was in the desert.
Wow.
A horse prickling his mouth on cacti. Oh my gosh.
What was the storm like?
The storm was a big desert tornado thing.
Okay, well that probably means you feel like there's a lot of risk in your life at the moment.
Oh.
There you go. Woo! I've never announced this before, but my mother is Mystic Meg, who many of the British viewers will recognize was like this crazy lady who used to tell horoscopes and stuff when the lottery used to air in our country. And she was like a phenomenon, and that's why I've got like such an affinity with the paranormal. And
we had one, Miss Cleo. Call me now. Yeah, dude, I am not like a Jamaican psychic, dude. She was all over the TV, and especially in the late night. Call Miss Cleo now, and I can tell your horoscope. Dude, look it up, and it's just hilarious.
Wow.
Call me now.
What happened to
her? She got the FBI said she was a fraud, and she went to jail and stuff.
Are you serious right now, or are you lying?
No. I'm not joking.
Who what? You...
Yeah,
well, obviously
like
she's a fraud.
something
Obviously
about
she's a fraud.
Something about taxes and stuff. Hey, come on, let's believe in the supernatural here. You know, maybe people have powers.
Do you believe?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure people are abnormal, but I don't know about psychic stuff. I've never went into that stuff.
I remember when I was a kid, I went to like this psychic fair place, and there was this woman. So it was just like all these kooks in a room, basically, like a big room, like a convention hall or something. And there was this one moment, like the only thing I really remember from it, because I was quite young at the time, was like this woman ran screaming out of the hall, like freaking out and screaming after she'd spoken to this psychic. And it's because the psychic had drawn these cards that like meant that her husband was gonna die or something, and she freaked out and like had a panic attack and like collapsed outside or some shit. It was crazy. That's all I remember.
If you really think about that type of stuff, you know, like, oh, you're gonna die, or voodoo and all that type of stuff, I mean, the power of the mind is extremely powerful. If you believe you're gonna die, you might just die. You know, it's like, oh, on this day you will die and blah blah. Like, I don't know. I feel like the mind can defeat itself.
So you kill yourself because you heard that on that day you were gonna kill yourself.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, things are drawn to you maybe if you're constantly dwelling on stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I know, I know you're not into that type of stuff.
Okay. Well, it's funny. When I was young, I used to actually believe I could see ghosts and stuff. But that's a story for another day. Look, we need to talk about Guild Wars 2. I'm going to bring us onto it. Do you know why I did this thought exercise with you?
Well, why?
Because I was going to say to everyone, it's been a bit of a barren desert for Guild Wars 2 news lately. And that reminded me of it. And I was like, cool, I'll talk about that. It has been a bit of a barren... You like that? Yeah? Yeah? It's been a bit of a barren desert, guys. However, the drought is almost over, because in 5 days from our recording right now, in fact, when this goes up, the new patch will be very close to going up, I believe, right?
Yeah. 2 more days.
There's going to be a new patch for Guild Wars 2, this thing that they've been hyping everyone about, this thing with the new bosses. I guess we can talk... Have we talked about that on VisualWood yet? I don't think we have we?
No, it just came out. Remember, Tuesday?
So what do you make, first of all, as the first topic, of the information about the new patch? From what we're at liberty to say. I think, shall we clarify as well? We've both said in our videos that we have talked to ArenaNet, yeah?
No, I haven't said, but I guess we could say it now. Basically, what have you said? Because I was trying to look for it and I didn't hear it. Where you said that you've talked to ArenaNet?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What do you mean by talk to ArenaNet? Did you say, like, we talked, or did we just talk? We talked to ArenaNet.
Oh, you're being very cryptic. We talked.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
we basically
winking.
saw a lot of stuff that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
so
well, like,
it's kind of hard to speculate and stuff, and I don't want to abuse the relationship that we have with ArenaNet right now. So I don't want to hint, because they don't like that very much, it seems.
I wonder why.
I don't know. They don't like that. They don't like the hinting stuff or too much teasing. So I don't know. We got to be careful.
All right. Okay. But what do you think about the update itself?
Right. But we don't know the specifics of, you know, like, oh, how the boss is going to be and stuff like that. We don't know any of that, but we just know what's going to happen and stuff like that. We're at least a skim down of what's going to happen.
We know like a general overview, but it's like I learned stuff about this update just from reading other websites and things. Like I went on the wiki page for the release, and you know the worm boss, apparently, you know how it's got 3 heads. So for people that don't know, there's going to be 2 new bosses. One's like this big marionette that's going to be probably temporary, but there's also a new boss like the Torquato encounter that's being added to Bloodtide Coast. And it's against this worm thing, and I knew that was going to be there, but did you know, like, that there's different names for every single worm that's in that update? Like, one's called Cobalt, and one's called Magnesium or something. I don't know, but they've got like these 3 different metallic names, and like I've learned more about this update just from looking through the community and seeing interviews and stuff that people have to say. So yeah, like I think most of what I know about we can talk about here, but like in general, what do you think of the fact that we are getting 2 new bosses?
All right, so one of them are permanent, obviously the worm, and one of them is like just, you know, just for now, for the living story. The one for the living story, which is the big watch night bot, which is, I don't know. I don't know where they were going with that design, but now it's like some huge Watch Night bot, which seems really cool. You see little platforms in the trailer, and you also see like lanes, right? Like little pathways where the Watch Night and golems will like meet in between, and I guess you have to kind of break through and fight through until you get to like the middle part, right? Where the Watch Night is kind of walking around. So it seems pretty cool. I don't know like exactly where they're going with it and how it would work or how many people will be on the map. Maybe it will be something like, the Queen Pavilion. Yeah, it's Queen Pavilion, right? Mm-hmm, and the Queen's Gauntlet is the other thing. All right, Queen Pavilion.
Yeah, they were both in the same map, though. Yeah.
And the Halloween one where it's the labyrinth, right? So it'll be kind of like that, where basically you can fill up the map. Maybe I'm thinking that's what I'm.
Well, it's Lorna's Pass, though, isn't it? It's actually in Lorna's Pass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they really saw this info then.
Yeah, they did, and some people even found on Reddit, they saw like the terrain from the video that they put up from the trailer, and then actually walked to that region of the world and sort of had a look around at where this boss fight was going to be, except before it happened. So like people have seen it, and yeah, it's going to be out there in Lorna's Pass. For how long, I don't know. You mentioned the design of it. Did you know that there's like a really, really old piece of concept art that the devs did? Do you know what Utopia is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they were doing Utopia, they made some concept art of like this thing that looks exactly like Scarlett's marionette, like almost exactly, just with more details about her face missing. And like, so it seems that the devs looked at this concept art that's really old for Utopia all that time ago, and then seems to have designed the boss perhaps out of that old concept art. Like, how crazy is that? That's years old now. That's like concept art from
I remember them talking
2006
about
or
that.
something.
I remember them talking about it, is that they look at concept art to get like I guess inspiration to work on stuff. They did that for the PvP maps as well. And that's how Skyhammer came about as well. Did you watch that same was it a live stream? I think it was a live stream.
Yeah. I didn't watch all of that live stream. I mostly skipped to the end bit where they were talking about all the new game types and stuff. But yeah, I did see it. It's funny to me that we now have this new boss that's been added to the game that is inspired by concept art that we've always as a community thought probably had something to do with one of those new professions, like the Chronomancer, the time-traveling profession that was going to be there in Guild Wars 1 in theory. Like, that's what that concept art originally looked like it was going to be for, and it's just sort of been repurposed in theory now into this boss fight, which does look ridiculous, let's be honest. Like, she's walking about in high heels and just looking crazy, and probably most of the fight we're going to be staring at her shins the whole time. But that might not be the case.
Or what? Shins was the original. Yeah.
Shins in the what?
You paused there for a second. I thought you were going to say something else. Yeah, go ahead. No,
okay.
Never mind me.
No, like, so I don't know. I think most of the boss fight we see, we could just be like hacking away at her ankles the whole time, unless they design it in such a way that we actually get to look at the giant puppet. But in any case, I think the whole idea is
how do you design something like that? How do you design a big boss battle when when the character is so huge, when the boss is so huge? I wonder, because you see how they did Zaitan. So how would they do this with the Watch Night? Maybe like usually last time it was with the Karka Queen. There was like this big laser of this big weapon from what I could know that you can shoot her. So I wonder how that's gonna work as well.
Well, when they revamped Tequatl, they gave you like a bigger scope of the battle by using those jump pads. Like, you weren't permanently on them, but when you were, you got like a real sense of scale for the fight because you got so high up in the air. I think like a lot of single player games can do it quite well, like Spectacle Fighters or like Shadow of the Colossus. You're a tiny guy fighting these huge monsters, and the way it does it is it like pans the camera out in nice ways and allows you to climb all over the bosses. So. But that's not really...
I love that game.
It's not really possible for Guild Wars 2, though. That's the thing, is it, really? Which is why I say, sort of, it's going to be weird how they design it. Whether we're going to be close to her and she'll have vulnerable phases, maybe, where you get to get in her face and attack her dead on in melee. But then maybe those vulnerable phases only last a little while, and then the rest of the fight, we're nowhere near her, like, we're really far away. And that lets you look at the full scope of her while you're sort of fighting your way around these other objectives to get in.
It seems like it has a big flaw, though. I mean, she's basically a puppet, right? Because she's on the chains. Why not just cut the chains? Yeah. That seems like a big design flaw there. Like, it's just like, We have laser weapons. I've seen it before. Why not just destroy it?
Dude, people might think that you're hinting there, like.
No, I'm not hinting.
That might be the death animation of the boss. Can you imagine? And everyone would be like, "Oh, Matt Visual knew." You best hope that's not the death animation of the boss.
We haven't seen much. It was only words that we have heard and pictures, maybe, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's that boss, the marionette. We're looking forward to that. There is another big bit of the update. I mean, it's called The Origin of Madness. And that's actually significant. There is going to be a big chunk of the update that goes into Scarlet's backstory and what's going on with her. And again, like, don't know any specifics or anything, but that sounds quite cool, especially considering they named the update after that. But I think the main thing is the two bosses. Like, and we've had conversations before, like, not in VisualWood. What do you, like, the worm kind of interests you, right? And you want to play it, but do you think it's going to hold your attention over the months and months and months after its implementation?
No. Like, see, the thing is, yes, I think the worm is good. I think Jaquata was good. It holds your attention for that beginning phase, right? Where, like, oh, we're playing new content. But then after a while, it's just like it fades into the background. It fades into, you know, the dungeons that you keep repeating daily, the fractal runs. It just fades into the background. If you like it, you'll do it. Or if you want something from the rewards, which hopefully the rewards are good, please let the rewards be good. You know, it will just fade into the background of obscurity, and we just never think about it ever again. You know, after the couple months, after it loses its, you know, its, oh, wow. You know, we got to fight a new boss that, you know, we have to team up with a whole lot of other players that have to organize themselves properly on TeamSpeak, or, you know, you won't have the best experience possible. But, you know, not to say it's a bad thing. I mean, that happens with everything, right? But, you know, as Arena says, you'll get those chosen few who just constantly run the boss over and over again, and you can join them, you know, when you want to do it.
See, I really like the idea of like a state of end game where let's say it's a year down the line, right, and they keep adding these cool mega bosses. I love the idea that eventually you'll be at this place where like you have a guild or something, and they're like, okay, on Tuesdays we fight Tequatl, on Wednesdays we fight the worm, the new worm, whatever it's going to be called. On Thursdays we fight revamped Jawmag. On Friday, you know, and on and on and on, and like that's kind of a guild experience. Like that is a way to do endgame. You know, some people do spend all their time running dungeons, but I'd love it to be that there are as many bosses as there are dungeon paths, for example, or just dungeons in general, so you get that really varied experience while sort of sticking with the hardcore boss encounters. That'd be sweet, man.
Yeah, I like that rotation.
So, like, and obviously with this one new boss that's getting added, we're not going to be 100% of the way to that goal right now, but I'm still very excited that it's come in. Now there is scope for, you know, mega boss killing guilds. Right now, you know, I remember when Tequatl came out, I spoke to a lot of people who were very interested in setting up guilds like this, who wanted to keep running big mega bosses, but it's like, okay, there's only one in the game at the moment. And no one's particularly competitive about getting the fastest kill on Tequatl or anything right now, which is what really compelled me. So I love the idea of eventually we have loads of them going on. I think that there's scope for that in Guild Wars 2 lately as well. I saw another post about this one guild, you know, champion farming you can do in Frostgorge or you can do it in Queensdale, and that's pretty much the established set at the moment. A little bit in Kershore, I guess, is another map. Well, there was a post about an effective champion farm you can do in Malkor's Leap, which is never a map that I've participated in that on. And it was a post from a guild of people who were saying, hey, look, we've started doing this. I love the idea as well of guilds that say, okay, Mondays, our guild is champion farming in Frostgorge. You're more than familiar with that. We do that in Frostgorge. Tuesdays, we do it in Queensdale. Wednesdays, we now go to like all these different, and like they have a rotation of every day is a different map. Like the more stuff like this that comes in, the better it's going to be for eventually being at this healthy state of the game where you can join a guild that does one specific thing. They do dungeons, they do mega bosses, they do this or that, and they have like set schedules they can do, you know, real guild activities and things that go on like as the week goes around. Like that's exciting to me. So yeah, that's like a big thing for me with this update.
I just hope that they beef up the rewards just a little bit, because it seems like it's always been a problem with the rewards. It's like everyone's like, the rewards are not good enough for me, you know, and that's why they don't do it. I mean, there's a reason why. Yeah, there's a reason why people champion farm. is because they get something out of it. There's a reason why. Champion farm is not necessarily the funniest thing in the world. It's not. But they do it because guess what? You get something out of it.
Now, getting gold is fun.
Yeah, getting gold is, you get to buy stuff that makes your character look cool. Now, what's the point of doing Taquado or this new boss? What's the point?
After the achievements.
Exactly. So they have to do the same thing they do for champion farming because we invented champion farming, like the community did. And so would it be a thing? Would the worm actually have good rewards that it'll be like, okay, we have to kill it? Like all guilds will be like, we have to do it because it just gives you so much good loot. Why not do it? And that's the reason why people champion farm. But yeah.
Yeah, the rewards is always an interesting thing to me. I don't think there's enough incentive to do those bosses at the moment. I think when they come out, they should be harder as well, and it should be the real elite that manage it. Like, for example, when Tequatl first came out and you had these people with the Sunbringer, for a very brief period of time with this game, it was awesome having that title, and it was like, yeah, I'm a goddamn Sunbringer, this is cool. But then it very quickly got washed away under the hordes of people that just managed to complete it, being carried on the backs of the guys that put in all the work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see it get so hard with one of these bosses. There really are very few people that have these titles and have these exclusive weapon goodies and minis and stuff, and that's why and the reason why you keep coming back to the content isn't because you complete it every night, it's because you try it every night. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's the difference. You don't get rewarded every time, but you get a little bit closer because the rewards are so prestigious at the end. I think that's the system that excites me most, but I don't know whether ArenaNet want to make content that hard for a game that is largely casual oriented. Even though this is supposed to be the content that's not. Anyway, a new hardcore boss, the Worm's coming out. I'm excited about it. I do think it will at least be as hard as Tequatl, which means it's going to be fantastic in my eyes. The puppet will be fun, I guess, a bit to play and finish it off. But really, it's not the main. Well, marionette, okay, but it's not the main thing I'm looking forward to. So I've got some other topics as well. If you're willing to move on.
Yes. I just want to be eaten by the worm.
So
I want to go inside the worm.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's going to be a thing too. I'm so curious what happens when you go in there.
I'm so curious as well. So curious.
Very curious. It reminds me of like Malboros from Final Fantasy.
Marlboro. That sounds so familiar.
Do you not know what Marlboro? Well, it's it's like a brand of cigarette, I believe. And there's like there's a class of enemy in the Final Fantasy series that are called them. And they have like attacks called like and these enemies are brutal, can I just throw out there? But they have attacks like bad breath and stuff. And they at one point in the series they started eating your characters and then spitting them back out, and that's what.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're like vile things. They're really cool, well designed enemies, like really cool. They're almost as eponymous. Eponymous? That's not the right word. But they're almost as iconic to Final Fantasy as like Chocobos are at this point. Like they really. I think Malboros were in the very first Final Fantasy. Actually, I don't think they're new enemies. I think they were always. Anyway, whatever. New topic. Bong.
Bong.
Have you seen what's going on in the gem store?
Yes, I actually did, and totally forgot about it. So it must haven't been that good. All right, let me pull it up right now.
I mean, I can just tell you if you want.
You can just new incredible items in the gem store. Oh wow, we have a dye kit, basic ore node pack. Oh, and the primer. Yeah, the metabolic primer. So now your food can last to 12 hours.
So what do you think of the primer first of all? Then I guess.
How much does it cost? I never checked.
It's like 150 gems for one.
That's not too bad. It's like
it is. It is. Someone did some research. The most expensive food on the trading post. Okay, so the thing that would give you the most worth out of this metabolic primer, right? Yeah. Most expensive food, you get to extend. So guys, the way it works is you buy this item on the gem store, you double click it, and it means that the next food you eat lasts for 24 hours instead of its regular duration. Oh, or it lasts as long as the metabolic primer would last. So in theory, it's this thing that gives you sort of a stress-free way and potentially money-saving way to have your consumables always at hand, because you would pop this primer and then you just eat what you only have to buy one consumable. You get it for 24 hours. It doesn't expire while you're logged off. It just stays there. If you character swap, it doesn't expire. So you get 24 hours of playtime with that food buff on.
It's 12 hours.
Is it 12 hours? You sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's 12 hours, and if you go in something like PvP, I'm sure it will get instantly stripped off of you as well. So you got to be careful and stuff like that. But so the idea is it would save you money, but even if you buy the most expensive stuff on the trading post to extend up to 12 hours, like, you still lose cash. Like, it still comes at a loss. So literally, you spend like a ridiculous amount more money on this item just for the convenience of not having to double click once every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour.
What I see what you're saying. Oh, at the total cost of buying
the gems,
of
for
buying
the primer.
12 hours of food and buying that
would be cheaper.
Okay, right. Wow. I don't know. I wouldn't use it because really, I don't know what to use it for. I'd rather just click it when I want to, because if I take pauses, I don't want to just sitting there wasting when I'm talking to somebody. I just don't want that to happen. So I rather
that's
just
true as
use
well.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I never even thought of that. You're so right. Like, at least if you have it for an hour, you go away from the computer for a bit, and then you realize you got caught away. You can come back to your desktop and be like, oh, I only lost 40 minutes of that, not 2 hours worth of it.
Yeah.
You're completely right. Or even worst case scenario, like all of it. Yeah, so it's basically a non-item. It's for some people have been like, oh, it's really good for those epic long World versus World sessions. I don't have to carry my consumables in my bag anymore. Honestly, I mean, is the price really worth one slot in your inventory and the effort of looking when... Like, it's another thing you don't have to focus on in the game as well. Like, I've always not liked these... They're all over the place in Guild Wars 2, but little streamlined features that just make you have to interact with the game less and less, and they're all done in the name of convenience. And this is another one. It's like, yeah, you don't even have to look at your consumables for when it expires. You can be even more lazy now, just for a ridiculous extra cost of gems. Like, it's a non-item in the store. Some people might like it. The only time I can see someone buying it is they buy gems because they wanted something else with real world money. They've got some leftover gems. They don't want to turn it into gold. They buy one. That's it. Or maybe if stuff like this eventually gets added to the loot tables of Black Lion chests, it could be a cool little thing to come out of a Black Lion chest. Or as a reward for a daily. Like, they've added a lot of items like this to the game, and none of it's sort of been added to the loot tables of those, which I think it should be. But yeah, so that's item number 1.
Basic or node pack in your home instance. Really?
Yeah, so
really?
Give me your opinion on this one.
Like, everyone's like, oh, make the home instance better. All right, let's put a basic node pack. Yeah, because everyone goes in their home instance every day to mine something. I'm pretty sure some people do, but I have not logged into that thing ever since I put that node thing in there. I always mine it once for courtesy, and that's it. And I leave because everyone's watching me, because my home instance is not really my home. I don't know why they even call it that. All right. I won't get into it.
You want your privacy so badly.
Yeah, listen. I got to bring the honeys home, all right? And I can't bring the honeys home while the merchant is right next to my bed, okay?
What if the merchant is a honey? Well, you've never considered this.
But it's not. It's a big hairy Norn.
Okay, well, maybe there's some profit in there for you.
My Ogden's
what
hammer.
Savings? I was thinking of, like,
hammer.
Prostituting yourself out to this guy, and the first thing you say is, what savings?
What savings? Yes.
I've got a confession to make. So wait, would you ever buy these ores? The ore pack?
No.
800 gems.
No. I might, like, I'm curious to just have them there, because you never know, like, it's just good to look like, it'll look good, but if it's limited time, I might buy it. If it's not, if it just stays there,
I think it is, maybe. Okay, I don't know.
They need to really put a timer on those things, because I missed a lot of finishers because they didn't put a timer on it. And they didn't say, oh, these are going to be gone right now. They
I
didn't
think
tell
they
me
do,
that.
man. I think they do. They did
No,
something crazy.
It doesn't say limited time on it. Not now. Just now they started putting like, oh, this is a limited time because people complained. And I'm never getting my Super Adventure Box explosion thing ever again. I'm never going to get that chance.
Dude, it will come back with the next Adventure Box update. Did you hear what they did? This is sort of off topic. On limited time things, did you know what they put in the gem store for like a 24-hour period, and that was it?
What?
There was it was a couple of weeks ago they did it. Do you remember the Queen's Jubilee and the little guild exclusive area that you could get access to from spending money in the gem store, or it would randomly drop from enemies? Do you remember that place?
Oh, hold up.
Do you remember there was an exclusive place that they added?
Yeah.
It had
Divinity's
like
Reach,
all
right?
the services. The Royal
Yeah.
Terrace, it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I still have my pass. Yeah.
Yeah, but those passes expired, right? Yeah. You realize?
No,
this?
you have to use them first.
Okay, all right. So you double click it, and then they expire after 2 weeks.
3
I
days.
think.
Or I think it's. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, the one I got, I got 2 different drops during that event, and both of them lasted 2 weeks. But so those were a thing back then, and obviously most people expired their Royal Terrace stuff in the meantime. It was removed from the gem store, and it was, I guess, sort of a dead area in the game that very few people were still had access to. Well, for 24 hours only, a couple of weeks ago on the gem store. It might not have even been that long ago. They allowed people to buy a Royal Terrace pass that would never expire. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I'm pretty sure it was 24 hours. So yeah, that's something that I completely missed out on, and I would have loved. So there's some people now that have access to the Royal Terrace as a permanent fixture. If you're on that character, you can automatically at all times have 100% access to your bank, the trading post,
Even in a dungeon.
Yeah, why not a dungeon? I'm sure it would work in a dungeon. They let you go in and out of dungeons freely now. Like, that's not an issue for Guild Wars 2 anymore, is it really? I mean, a lot of this
Except for new updates. Haha.
in truth, like a lot of this stuff you could just do by going into World versus World, but like this is way more convenient. And it's like so exclusive now as well. Like, so that was something they added to the gem store. Anyway, back to the ore things. I bought them. I didn't just buy them. I didn't just convert gold into gems. I got out the credit card. I put in £10, and then I bought gems, which I then spent for the ore nodes. And a lot of people say this is like a really dumb thing to do because the ore nodes they give you are, what are they? Copper, silver, and gold. Which are like pathetically common, stupidly cheap ores. It's not even like bronze, silver, and gold, which would have made more sense in my opinion. It's copper, silver, gold. And apparently, if you like convert at the current conversion rates, if you don't spend real world money on it, like you wouldn't make, even if you mined every single one every day of your life for the next like 2 years, you still wouldn't earn the money back for the cost of buying them on the gem store. Like, you lose a ridiculous amount of money just for putting those ore nodes in your home instance.
Wow. You're selling it right now. You're selling it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But, okay, now I'll sell it to you, okay? Sell me this pen, okay? Here's how I'm going to sell it to you. You need these ore nodes, okay? Do you want to have a centralized location where you can say, look, I have every single unlock available, and your friends don't, and you can take your friends in and say, look at all these nodes that I've got in my home instance. You don't have all these nodes. You haven't been playing this game as long as me. You haven't put as much money into this game as me. Look at my EP. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do you want to have your home instance like that?
That would be the only reason I would get it.
There it is.
That is
there
not,
it is. Get out the credit card.
That is not a good reason to buy nodes.
It's good enough reason for me, dude. Here's the all serious reason why I got it. I was like, dude, I got the quartz thing. I got the crate obelisk shard. I got the azurite. I've had every single upgrade so far. Do I want to miss out on this one?
Azurite.
I want to be
at
100. Yeah, if you did the Zephyrite Sanctum, you should have.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I want it. I want 100% in my home instance. And I bought it, and I went in there, and I felt like it was money well spent just looking at the map and seeing all the icons there. And I'm a sucker, but it was cool. So, and then I did harvest them as well, and promptly
So, I can go into my home instance, right? and next to the merchants and all the random people standing in my house
Are a load
I
of
have
random
like
rocks.
random rocks that I can break. That's absolutely great.
And
Absolutely
for the
great.
low price of 800 gems.
Low price. Excellent.
I think
Anything
if they were
else?
400, people would have liked them a bit more, maybe 200. But yeah, that's two things. What was the other thing they added? Oh, the new dyes as well.
Yep.
Which, for dye collectors, people are going to want that, obviously. It's more high contrast stuff, and new colours for the high contrast sets. So, I mean, it's whatever, man. I'm not going to complain about new dyes going in the game. I didn't buy that, personally, or the metabolic thing, but that's the new stuff that's in the gem store at the moment. You interested in dyes at all?
Yeah, but not
You don't sound like
enough. Not enough to like spend money on them. I'll just get it I'll get it from the trading post or stuff like that. But I never like put down my credit card for them.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the gem store updates for you guys. Bong, next thing. So have you heard? Have you heard? Wait, what? Barnacle?
No. The article. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you heard about their discussions on the changes to the Zerker meta?
Zerker meta. Really?
Yeah. So we're talking about the PvE meta right now.
Ooh.
So do you want to describe to people the current PvE meta?
Just how do I describe that everyone wins Zerkers? I think that's pretty much it.
So how useful is CC?
How useful is CC?
Mm-hmm.
What, against PvE stuff?
In PvE, yeah. How useful is it?
I feel like I'm saying something wrong, but I don't think it's useful at all.
Boom! You're right. It's useless. How good is support in PvE?
Oh, it's good.
No, it's
decent.
not. It's terrible. Support is terrible.
Well,
Boom.
Okay. Yeah, that's the reason why there's 5 Zerker warriors inside.
How
of,
good is condition damage? How good is it? How good is condition damage?
For me, it was fine when I was playing. You're talking about dungeons, or you're just talking about
well,
just random
dungeons,
playing?
giant bosses. I mean, roaming while you level to 80 is hardly
all right. Well,
the Guild Wars 2 experience for most
when you're
people.
when you're fighting a big boss, right? Conditions mean nothing because everyone's conditions are on it already, and it maxes 25. So it wouldn't matter anymore because everyone's gonna do it for you. So it doesn't really matter.
5 Condi in a dungeon doesn't work either. And why should 5 Zerkers work when 5 Condi don't? What gives the 5 Zerkers special treatment?
Ah, okay, I see what you're
So
saying.
in truth,
Right.
Condi doesn't work either, really. So it's all messed up. It's all bad. It's been like it for a very, very long time. And they have said on the forums, look, we want to change this. We want to change the PvE meta that's currently entirely Zerker-based stuff. I'm wondering, Matt, how would you change that? What would be your sort of suggestion? Would you stop power and crit damage being useful? Or how would you try and diversify?
See the man, this is a tough choice, man. You can't just spring this up on me. I mean, the easiest. It's kind of hard to balance these things because if you say, okay, make support more useful by buffing the amount they heal and then buffing the damage on the bosses or something like that, and allowing them to move around instead of just sit there and just zerk the boss down. But it will kind of lead to imbalances of basically Guardians not being able to die in PvE, and PvE would just be a breeze for them, and nothing will be able to kill them. Like there's a certain balance that needs to be had. I mean, the easiest, man, I wouldn't say just nerf Zerkers. That would just be weird. I don't. There's so many ways it can go about it, but it all has to do with like the balancing. Like they could reach the increased condition damage or increase the cap of 25 bleeding. Or, there's so many ways it could change it, but if one thing changed, something else has to change to balance it.
Yeah.
So it's a web.
I think
you've
touched on two things. They did an interview where it was sort of discussed the idea of the 25 bleed cap, and apparently that can't change. But they did say there was an announcement that something was going to happen to crit damage. and presumably some kind of nerf to the way it works. Like, you know how crit damage scales obviously in percentages to your damage rather than, which is different to the way, say, power scales. You know, you get a few numbers and then it's perhaps diminishing returns later on and so forth, yeah?
Right.
So crit damage fundamentally works different to most stats, and there could be a change there somewhere that maybe brings it into line. I think to an extent they're probably going to nerf Zerg stuff, but I read a really interesting point from someone that was basically if they buff like toughness and tanking and, you know, being defensive, the problem with a lot of that stuff is that it just introduces a lot of really passive gameplay. Like when you're really high Zergs in theory should work because it's actually a lot more risk reward, right? You're rewarded much higher, but you will die unless you dodge key stuff. If you then want to make, you know, really tanky builds viable, the way that those stats work in this game, like if I'm full Zergs, a shield, renewed focus, the Guardian elite that makes you invulnerable. If I'm full Zergs, that invulnerable is still worth an invulnerable, right? It's exactly the same. If you build a ton of toughness, it doesn't make your invulnerability any better. It just means you do less damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the way the game works right now is you can go really glassy, but you have these hard-built skills that allow you to block massive damage and invulnerable through massive damage, reflect massive damage, stuff like that, evade through it. So I heard a really interesting idea that if you really want to diversify it and keep the game fun, you need to make stuff like toughness. Like, if you get more toughness on your Guardian, it means that your invulnerability state lasts longer, or you can block for longer as a warrior, or your endure pain would last longer, for example, right? So right now, all the offensive stats scale how strong your abilities are, and the defensive stats should also scale the abilities themselves too. What do you think of that?
Wow.
Does it work? I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. It's like
it's interesting, but man, can you imagine people complaining about that? Being invulnerable for how many seconds because you have so much toughness?
You don't have to assume that though, because they can reduce the base. They can say if you go full Zerker, you only get a quarter of a second invulnerable now base. And if you want to get back to the regular invulnerable you had, you need to start accounting for some toughness in your build. And that way, it's not buffing these abilities. It's just forcing investment in defensive attributes to make them viable. Instead of just being these freebies you can slot into the most glassy guy in the world and be fine.
But, I mean, how would that help when it comes down to basically killing a boss in a dungeon or something like that?
It doesn't have to help necessarily. Like, it's just forcing build diversification. The idea of the patch wouldn't be to make all the game easier. It would just be to force people to swap things up and there be more variation in the kind of stuff you see. Like different party comps that people run. Right now, it's just, everyone's Zerker and you pick the classes that do the most damage the quickest. And that's it. And there's no interest there. But if there's specific roles different people can fill in the party, all of a sudden there's much more...
There isn't any roles because they don't want to do roles, you know?
They do, though. They don't want a hard trinity where one person just sits there the whole time looking at health bars, healing people up. They want a trinity where someone is supporting, and someone is CCing, and someone is damaging primarily, but everyone's got a little bit of that within themselves. Like, they do want... It's like a soft trinity, and that's always been their idea. They want
CC is so weird, though. Like, you can't... Like, the Defiance crap is so annoying. Like, it's why do it? Like... I don't know. I guess, yeah, sometimes if you hit the... If people CC them and then they wait for the Defiance to get off and then you just pull them to the corner and stuff like that, I guess that's okay. But, like, really what it comes down to is kiting, you know? And it's just, like, kiting around because the boss just keeps following that person that can get down in 2 seconds. Yeah. You know? And that's not necessarily fun. I feel like if you're going to make tanking more viable, then you're going to have to fix the aggro of the bosses. You know, the aggro just goes to, like, I don't even know how it works, all right, to be honest. Like, it just, the boss just goes wherever. Okay, sometimes it goes to the Mesmer, that's the basically a glass cannon. Sometimes it goes to sometimes you get lucky and it goes to the tanky person. You know, it's weird. I guess whoever does the most damage, that's where the aggro goes.
Yeah, and it's like a proximity thing. It's they say it's based on toughness as well, but like the major thing they've always said that's supposed to aggro a boss is like how close you are to them or something. But like they never wanted to make hard and fast aggro rules because they didn't want like threat and taunt and stuff to be a thing for Guild Wars. They wanted everyone to like share the burden or whatever. There's a lot to do to address it. I guess we should probably just leave it there. Like, but it is something they're trying, and I think that's worth note because it's been a long time since launch. Would you be excited to see changes or just really?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would like to see changes. I want them to change it up a little bit, try something new, and because I don't know, when I used to run dungeons like constantly every single day, it was fun, and we used to do the support thing actually. We used to do combos with the support. Yes, it wouldn't be as fast as all Zerkers, but it was a lot fun to do the combo fields and do the rapid healing between a couple guardians and doing builds to help each other. You know, one guardian will have like the healing duration thing, battle presence, and soothing mist on the Ellie. You know, like we'll just stack it all up, and we just couldn't die. I don't know if you could still do it because it's been a while since I used to do those runs. But basically, we wouldn't die. We'll sit there at the boss, stacking on top of each other, and just all these buffs. It was amazing. It was a good feeling to tank the boss for once, because Guild Wars 2 is all about, rolling around for 2 hours and kiting the boss and trying not to get hit. And most of the time, I understand, like, if you're with a group and they know what they're doing, that type of stuff doesn't really happen. But, for the majority of people playing, especially if you're going inside a new dungeon, there's a lot of kiting going around and making sure you don't get hit by the boss and basically running out of dodge. And most of the time you're just running away trying to make sure you don't get hit by anything or blah, blah, blah. Especially remember that Ether Blade? Was it the Ether Blade one with the Ether Blade retreat when basically you have to kind of jump around with that laser and that thing will always follow you? Yeah, like a lot of kiting in that one, a lot of moving around, it was fun. But it was also a little frustrating as well because how you would die because the damage would just be so much no matter what build you're going on. I mean, you could take a little bit more damage, but I mean, it would be like 1 or 2 more hits basically.
Yeah, that's that's like a weird thing as well because there do seem to be things in Guild Wars 2 where the devs are saying it doesn't matter how you've built your character, RPG-wise, statistic-wise, you have to adhere to the way we've designed this fight. So we're going to one-shot you with this key skill regardless. You have to dodge this skill. And, that takes a little bit, again, away from people who are trying to build tanks or very defensive characters because it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I could be on full DPS and just dodge this key skill anyway, and it really doesn't mean anything. And I think that's one of the core things that's broken about it at the moment.
Right, because, the reason why support, let's say we both can agree, at least he'll be able to take a few more hits so he can revive someone. What is the point of being support at all if basically when you're trying to heal someone, you get one shot by the boss? Like, there's no point of that. There's no point of being support. And then that's why people go damage, because damage is more viable. If they can have damage and a little bit of tankiness at the same time, but still dish out a lot of damage, they can do that. Mm-hmm. And then, Guardians become kind of like, okay, what should we be doing for this fight? We have to, basically throw away everything that we knew about support Guardian and just do something else. But yeah.
It's another thing as well. I guess this warrants a small bong. There's going to be a skill balance update change live stream thing
again
tonight. Yeah, tonight where they're going to be talking about it. And in particular, one of the big changes that's happening, probably alongside the Zerka meta thing or whatever that's getting addressed, sigils in the game. Like, there's very few worthwhile sigils. Like, for the amount of sigils that are there, many of them are completely broken, unusable. For example, the sigil that, gives you a chance to heal you and your allies for a ridiculously tiny amount on crit. Like, who's ever going to use that sigil? That is a support sigil that requires you to have precision. Why would you want precision when you're running like a support spec? And there's a bazillion sigils that are just really bad. There are some that are insanely good. Earlier, Matt, you mentioned, it's just how many times can you dodge? You just keep kiting and dodging until you finally die. You know, Sigil of Energy is what enables like most of the evades that you see in this game. It's incredibly overpowered and tons of people run it, particularly on the PvP side. You know, stuff like that may be getting pulled into line. I'm really looking forward to the Sigil update, and apparently that's something that's going to be coming soon. There's even people already like buying en masse. Do you know those sigils that give you like invulnerability after you kill 6 enemies?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those really 26 enemies, sorry, like those really, really terrible, weird sigils. Those, like, people are starting to buy up on the trading post en masse, just in case, like, they get changed. So hopefully big stuff will happen there.
Wow.
But yeah, that's pretty much all the topics for today. So
well, like I mentioned before, what do you think about the article? Because a lot of people were talking about. We talked a little bit about this.
What article?
That Eurogamer article. You showed me this. Remember?
No. What? Didn't we already talk about this?
No, Colin Johansson and Mike Zappa-Dupa-Poo.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. This is the one where they were asking all the really hardball questions, yeah?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I don't know. Like, for some reason, I didn't get anything out of this other than, like, it's like pretty much the same interview that I had with Colin Johansson. Except I didn't ask, your financials, reports suck.
Do you want to explain to people what the interview is?
All right. Basically, they say, has Guild Wars 2 begun to gently decline into obscurity, right? Basically, all those questions were, living story, no one likes it, why do you keep doing it? Why isn't there any expansion, right? Why, what else? Only a couple questions. I think Season 1, is just like an overblown sales talk. It's not going to be really good. A lot of those questions. And basically, they answered it in a very company way, like very dodgingly.
Well, what would you expect them to answer it like?
Exactly. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, that's what they're going to answer. That's why I say there's nothing here. There's no meat there. There's no, like, other than, at this time, there's a couple people working on big projects in the background. I mean, they've said that before. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what we got from the article.
Yeah, so, like, on one of the questions that these guys asked, the answer was, we're not saying yes or no to expansions still. It's sort of the same old story that many of us are familiar with. But there was a comment that they've got Guild Wars-related projects in the background. But that does intrigue me. I sort of feel like, I spoke with you about this, that I sort of feel like there's probably a big Living Story update or something, like, ages away, like months and months and months away, that they're just going to throw out, and they've had this one team working on for ages. And that kind of thing will probably be like the Dominion of Winds and the Tengu and stuff like that. But do you have any confidence that it's actually going to be like a full-on expansion? Because that's what Eurogamer, the guys that produced this interview, thought that meant. They concluded that there was an expansion in the work, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think they're really going to try to push this whole Living Story thing and try it out. And because basically it's going to be expansion for free, right? Because it's going to be during the Living Story. And they really want to push that the Living Story is not just some, crappy thing that they work on the side and, they're going to cash in the money. So they want to prove that Living Story is good. And I feel like they don't want to give up that dead horse yet,
They don't want to give up that dead horse.
Kind of like the PvP thing. It's just like, they still have the same game mode for like a year now, and no one wants to give it up, But people just don't like the game mode, and they just get tired of playing it, right? But they just keep going with it over and over again until they, and people started making their own game modes when Spectator mode and the Custom Arena came out. They started doing 2v2s and all that stuff. Everything else other than Conquest, and 1v1s even, because people like doing those. So I don't know.
There's a GVG tourney going on as well. Tomorrow, I think. Not like a Wild vs. Wild GVG. It's like a Guild Wars Classic Guild versus Guild. It's like a 6v6, kill the Lord first kind of thing. So yeah, there are different game modes. But the thing is, they have said, and even in that interview, they do sort of announce it too, that I do think they are trying to iterate with the living story, and I think that the core principle behind it is something I agree with. It sounds cool. It's just a matter of working on the exact implementation of it. And they are iterating. They're showing us that they're iterating even now, having this break over winter. You know, they do keep changing it, and I do think they are genuinely trying to listen to people. So I'm still happy to roll with a living world for now. And it's like I say, I've still got a lot of time left in me to wait for it to get good, because I think it can be very good once it's good. It's just it's going to take that time to get there, I suppose. And Conquest, you know, they're making a new game type, I guess, as well now that they announced a while back.
Yeah, exactly. Now they are. So, I mean, they're taking all this feedback for Season 1, right? So Season 1 is going to be the new living story. Is this going to be enough for people to get back into the game? I've heard some comments on my video saying, oh, is anyone waiting for Season 1 in order to get back into Guild Wars 2? Because, you know, people kind of lose interest and then they go play other games that have come out, you know, Assassin's Creed, Pokemon, all those games. You know, they just kind of like, okay.
Just go through a catalogue of all the games you've played lately and be like, oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto, and I haven't played that. I'm waiting for PC release. But yeah,
such a PC Master Race snob.
What do you mean? I don't have.
I've seen that in you.
I'm not gonna get an Xbox 360 just to play Grand Theft Auto in like low res. It's not happening, man. Oh wow, that sounded more PC Master Race.
Yeah, it did.
That didn't help my cause at all.
I've been picking up on this over the months.
What do you mean, dude? I used to play Xbox 360 exclusively. I have over 50,000 achievement points.
I recall a conversation we had where I hadn't logged into Steam for like 7 days, and then I logged in and I was sharing screens with you at the time, and you go, oh, 7 days. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
You're like, oh, it's been 7 days. PC Master Race. What can I say?
You know what? Yeah. Anyways,
the silence speaks measures. There you go, guys. That's the topic. Do you want to go to the questions?
Yeah, before that, the whole jelly versus jam thing.
I had a message about this. Did you get a message as well? Did we have a third-party friend that settled it?
Yes. There you go. Click that link. Well, I got a comment, and it gave us a link. It shows the difference between jam, jelly, and all that stuff. Fruit butter.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the difference. Jam
what
is like a more
fruit
thick
butter.
I don't know.
It sounds really nice. It looks pretty good on that spoon. Also, that looks like
it looks like applesauce. That's what it looks like to me.
If I want to get started with canning, what should I try first? Jam, jelly, or marmalade? Marmalade. I do know how that's pronounced. What's a chutney? What's the difference between a jam and a preserve?
Okay, we're not doing this. We're not
how
doing
a
this.
fruit butter's made. What is a fruit butter? That's crazy. Oh, dude, I wasn't linked to this. I was going through my personal messages earlier today, and I saw, like, it really makes me smile when I get, like, a detailed personal message about something that's got, like, nothing to do with any game I play on the channel or anything. It's just some weird observation someone's heard me make, and then they, like, send me a message about it. I love it so much. And this guy was like, hey, listen, I've got the solution to the jam jelly problem, and he, like, explained it all. I was like, yes. This is a great link, though, dude. Have you ever wanted to get into, making this stuff?
With jam and jelly? No.
Why not?
I just buy it. I just buy homemade organic jelly. I got some strawberry right now, and I put that on my toast with my egg. Oh, it's so good, dude.
Strawberry and egg on toast?
Absolutely. It's like a sweet, you know, egg, not eggy, but like sweet, salty taste, you know?
Well, surely it is eggy. You've got an egg on it.
Obviously.
What, is it like a fried egg?
Yeah, a fried egg.
And sliced strawberry?
No, not sliced strawberry. Strawberry jam. Strawberry jelly.
Oh, this is even worse. Are you serious?
Strawberry, yes, dude.
Oh, what? And then you have the yolk. Oh, you don't like runny yolk, though, do you?
No, I don't. No, I do not.
Still, it's pretty bad, though.
Makes me cringe.
Imagine that runny yolk.
How is it cooked when it's runny
jam.
like that? How is it cooked? It's not cooked.
That is cooked.
No,
There's plenty of cooked stuff in the world that can be runny while it's cooked.
I've been watching so many food stuff, and they just put raw egg in there. And they just leave it watery, all that custard and all that type of stuff. It just drives me nuts. I'm like, I'm not even gonna think about it.
Guys, a while ago, I sent Matt a link to. We were talking about poaching eggs because I love poached eggs, right? And they're like super healthy. And I sent Matt a link to poached eggs. And like, if you just go on Google, poached eggs images, like you get the most gorgeous, beautiful images in the world that come up. And his response was like, "Oh, it's all raw," or something like that. Look at this stuff. It's beautiful, dude.
No, I was watching this thing and this show, Source? No, not Source. That's another one. Sorted. That's what it's called. It's these British guys, and they always do like these recipes and stuff. And they made the sandwich, and then they had this egg, and then they popped it over the sandwich. That is disgusting.
Yes. What do you mean? You make it sound like a zit or something.
Yes, and it popped it all over it.
Oh, dude, the taste of like toast when it's just got
it
like
just
a little
oozes over the cheese and everything. Yeah. Anyways, questions.
and it melts it slightly. Oh my god.
So, yeah, this is the questions I found. I couldn't find many. I kept refreshing, couldn't find all the questions. So I'm sorry if you had some deep questions and I didn't see it, and that's why probably you see it not answered on the show. I apologize.
Okay. The first question looks kind of deep. Matt, what is the meaning of life?
That is not a question.
That's from user Wooden Potatoes. Seems like a fine
who's
fella.
that?
I don't know. He seems pretty cool though. What's the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is a fried egg.
Okay, I just came up with this on the spot. To recreate and procreate. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Meaning of life, right there.
Excellent.
Right
Excellent.
there, my friend.
I think the meaning of life is a flush down the toilet. That's another one right there. Yeah.
Do you remember our old like toilet humor segment on the Daily Deal?
We had a segment for it.
Well, we had like a sound effect. Do you remember toilet games or whatever?
Yeah.
It just went through my head there, like a toilet flushing. The meaning of life. All right, that was not the first question. I would never ask something so inane. The first question comes from Destroyed, who says, "Hello, MV and WP. You seem to like these questions, so here I go. If you could team up with one of the Elder Dragons to fight against the others, which would it be and why?" Well, first I have to ask, is this interior or is this in like IRL? Because you say, "Oh, we like these questions." Well, the questions we really liked were the ones that were like, if you could take a skill in real life. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So is this like team up with an Elder Dragon? It's like The Lost World 3, Jurassic Park 3. Do you ever see that?
Absolutely. Watched all of those horrible movies.
Well,
they get horrible. No, sorry.
Thank you.
They get horrible.
I was watching like this infographic about like all the subtle things in that show. Like, you know how the whole idea is that they get like, it's like all females that they genetically breed so that they can't recreate or whatever, but then somehow they do and they get all violent, and then it's like, oh, nature finds a way. You know that whole thing?
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's the thing in the movie. Yeah. But like, there's hints at it as well, because when they first get on the helicopter to land on the island, the guy's like trying to strap himself in the seat, but he's got two female ends to his like plug, and you see him like fiddling with it in the background, and he's like, "Oh, this doesn't work." So then he just ties them together like a shoelace.
Yeah, I remember that.
Nature finds a way. Yeah, it's a hint. It's like, it's hinting at the overall themes of the
so
movie.
Eventually, women will kill us all. Because I think there's more women on the earth than men, right?
I find it interesting you come to that conclusion. I think there are, aren't they? Isn't it like like a 55 to 45 split or something? There are more women. And genetically, it makes sense.
I mean, women already rule the world. All you have to do is open your eyes. But, I mean, they won't kill us.
What are you
they
talking
need
about?
us.
What are you talking about?
They need us to breed more.
How do they rule the world?
And we're all dying at the war. So that's probably why. That's probably...
Okay. Amazing. So yeah.
Oh, speaking about the war, I gotta go get Hitler. Hold on a sec.
Please hold on, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Hitler interstitialary. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm very tired while I'm recording this, by the way. This is just... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's the bell guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hitler.
I forgot that's what you named
Antler.
him.
Sorry. Antler. Not Hitler.
I still find that a disgusting joke.
Baby, dude, it's not...
Did you just call me baby? Did you just call me baby? Wow, you cannot edit that out. Oh, the day has arrived. I thought you were doing a bender thing.
I call my wife babe, and it seeps in sometimes when I'm talking to people.
Wow, I'm like your wife. This is what it's ended up like.
No, dude, I do that to all my friends, dude.
I thought you were doing it like a baby. I know it, like a bender thing, but no, you can.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing.
Oh,
that's what I was doing. It has nothing to do with me calling you baby by accident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, we just can't have the people on the internet learning about, the secret love affair and all that. Now just make your little Hitler joke and we'll move on gracefully.
Antler. Antler.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, because we need the bells for the questions.
Exactly.
Do you want to ring it then? The first question bell?
We already did the first question. It's the last question bell.
We haven't. What are you talking about?
We just answered a question.
No, we didn't. We rambled about Jurassic Park. The question is, if you could team up with one of the Elder Dragons to fight against the others, which would it be and why?
Okay, so...
It's so Christmassy. I love it. This is like a Christmassy podcast year-round now.
Why not?
Where are you filming in-game for this episode?
I was filming in, I think, Fireheart Rise.
Oh, so not a snowy place? Oh, well, there's a snowy place in Fireheart Rise.
Is there?
Yeah, the Kodan Sanctuary area, and there's that underwater worm. Giant mega boss. Do you know what I'm talking about? Top left corner of Fireheart Rise?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, I'm in the one next to it. No, not Fire Rise. The one next to it. It is called... I can't remember. I can't remember because I'm not logged in. I'm recording it now. Okay. Iron Marches. No, that's the one before. Anyways, who you would like to team up with?
Yeah, well, go. I'll let you answer first.
I don't know the Elder Dragons, so it's kind of a you question.
I think you can't just shy away whenever it's slightly about the story. You know the Elder Dragons.
What do you mean? I rather
give me
not
the 5
say
Elder
anything.
Dragons. Give me the 5 Elder Dragons.
Oh, dude, let's not.
No, come on, you can do this. You can do this.
Dude, I do not know.
Come on. All right, you know one. Give me all the ones you can remember.
Zaitan.
Okay, boom, 1.
Jormag.
Boom, 2.
Is Glint an Elder Dragon?
No, or she's the champion of.
Or?
What's in the char areas?
Yeah, I don't know.
The brand?
Oh, really?
Do you know who made the brand?
Oh, it was Glint?
Glint's master, who is...
and there's Primordus.
Begins with
is
a
that
K.
One? Is that one?
All right. You got Zaitan, Jormag, Primordus. That's 3.
There's a K word. I know there was a K word. Kapupupu.
Kraukatoric. All right.
There it is. Yeah, that one. And I don't know the last one.
Yeah, I can't remember the last one. Who's the last one? Oh, the deep sea dragon. The deep sea dragon.
Bubbles, right?
Well, that's just dude. I one of the most hipster things about me is like whenever people are like Bubbles, I always immediately in my brain go like, I was in that forum thread when that guy, who I used to know his name, when that guy first made that joke about Bubbles, and it got this huge thread, and then all the devs started calling him Bubbles, and I'm like, I was there before it was cool. I was there when this all started. It's like the most hipster thing I do. Every time in my brain, I'm like, don't mention it, and now I just mentioned it. So,
yeah. I want to know how many people knew all the 5 Elder Dragons. Like, I want to know how many people listened to this knew that. Like, knew that. 'Cause I feel like I mean, yeah, I play the game a lot, but it's never talked about, so I never look it up. The only time I hear anything about the dragons is when I listen to your video. So that's pretty much it. Like, I don't look up this stuff by myself. So I wonder how many people play this game that don't know the Elder Dragons at all. I wonder if that's a bad thing. I feel like it's a bad thing. I feel terrible right now. But yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, actually.
Leave it down below.
All right. But look, so we got him now. We got him. So you can answer the question. Who would you team up with to fight the others?
Bubbles.
You team up with Bubbles to fight the others.
I would team up with the Fallen Zaitan.
With the fallen
Yeah.
Zaitan. So
The fallen Zaitan. So it's like a kind of one of those, cliche movies where you have to team up with the bad guy,
who's now dead.
who's now
His desiccated body.
We have to revive him. We have to revive him so he can help us. Mm-hmm.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's awesome. It's awesome. He's not really dead. Come on now. We all know this.
We didn't see him die.
He just fell down into the abyss of
And there's
nothing.
a point of interest that no one has access to yet called the Dragon's Lair. That was clearly where the fight was supposed to end, but they just cut out in the end because they rushed to the end of the game. Woo! He could still be alive! Why is Tequatl getting stronger as a part of the living story if his master's dead? Woo!
Awesome.
Woo! Okay, I would probably team up with Kraukatoric because I think he's a badass. And yeah.
See, I wish I knew anything about any of the dragons, but yeah. So
I'll give you a crash course one day, homie. That's cool.
It's cool? All right.
Okay, all right. Mujin Zhang. This is question 2. Says, okay, 4th time lucky. What race and profession you feel fits best together? For example, I believe Sylvari Ranger fits the most.
You go.
I like to do a pause and then just see how you respond immediately to the
I
questions.
know, right? So you can respond all intellectual and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, well, I read the questions, so it only makes sense that we do that.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say the Norn Guardian and the Char Engineer seems to be like a good fit. Like I really think the Char.
Why Norn Guardian?
Because he's huge.
So
he's huge.
Well,
it's
what
not
about
like
being a guardian means huge.
Because you're a guardian.
Because you're a heavy armor guy.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. You're a heavy armor guy. You got to be huge when you're using heavy. Well, you don't have to be, obviously, but I'm just saying it's kind of matches. But I think more Char Engineer. But if you think about the Guardian,
big, yeah.
Every time you think about the Thor, on Thor universe, remember the Guardian in there, the gatekeeper? He was huge, dude. A huge black dude. See what I'm saying? So.
I like how you identified with this random guy.
Dude, he was an awesome part of the movie. I wish they made a movie just about him. He was like oh my gosh.
Are you talking about the original Thor or
the original Thor? The original Thor. He's such a small part of the movie, and it's so good when he's on screen. So good, man. Yeah.
Anyways. A bit of a role model when you hit the gym. I will be this guy. I will be this guardian one day.
Yeah, dude. Obviously. Come on now.
I think the writer asks Sylvari Ranger. I think Norn Ranger's pretty big as well, considering Norns are like the Norns. Oh my god, don't let me say that. The Norn are like hunters and roamers and so forth. You know, looking for big game. I think Rangers works quite well for them. But yeah, like I think Engineer Char is a good one. I think there's some things that just really don't seem to make any sense at all, like a Mesmer Char or a Mesmer Norn. I think Mesmer's really fiddly for most, and like Human doesn't seem to fit any of them particularly well. Like all the spellcasters fit Asura just fine. Elementalist Asura, boom, that's what I am in game for good reason. It fits together, but other stuff, I don't know, not so much. Though heavy armor Asura look awesome. Let me just say that. Like you put them in their tier 3. Don't you make that noise? Heavy armor Asura in their tier 3. Have you seen that, dude? And like if you get the Juggernaut
in their T3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Asura,
I've been using stuff that's not designed for them.
I will link you afterwards. Oh, there was this thread about like the ugliest armors, and someone showed Vigil Heavy tier 2 on a female Norn. That's a lot of criteria to hit. But if you do it, it looks like you're running around in like this like metal diaper. It looks disgusting. It is like awful. It is really bad. It's a really, really good candidate for a horrific armor. Because it just looks... It's like the Guild Wars version of that Miley Cyrus thing. I'm pulling so many references from Reddit lately. But it's so true. It looks horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Wow.
So yeah, no, that's a pretty bad one. But that's not really got anything to do with the question. So we'll move on. Oh my god, we have a riddle. Are you ready? Did you pick this question with an answer in mind?
No, I didn't. I was supposed to look it up first.
Because because I'm just preparing this for you. Because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read the question and I'm going to throw it to you. Yeah, I know we don't. That's a bit unorthodox. We don't usually do it that way, but that's how it's going to go down. You're going to want to seem smart the second it goes. Okay?
Absolutely, because that's exactly what happens most of the time.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
Jet's Cookie asks, "Answer my riddle. I run, but I don't walk. I scream, but I don't talk. What am I?"
I run, but I don't walk.
Uh-huh. I scream, but I don't talk. You're Googling it right now. I can hear the typing.
No, I'm not Googling it. I'm not
Yeah,
Googling
you
it.
absolutely are. All
right, so if you run, would that mean that you have legs? I don't get it. Or would it be like, like, for instance, a rock rolling down a hill? Would that be considered running? I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, I Googled it and I can't find the answer. I heard someone said the electric chair.
Yeah, I see that here.
And if you click the link, it's like supposed to be a train. Somehow.
Because he runs? But, I mean, the train has to slow down.
Yeah, but you don't ever describe... Like, a train is running as it pulls into the station. You don't ever describe a train as walking.
And then it screams.
Because of the
How's the electric chair... I understand the screaming part, but the running? Really?
Well,
maybe the water? The water
chair,
from the sponge?
A chair has legs, okay?
But it doesn't mean that it's going to run.
Well, does it? I mean, it's an electric chair. It's not necessarily where someone gets executed. It could just be a mechanical chair that is
I understand
designed...
you have magic in the UK, right? I understand. You go to Hogwarts, you can make chairs run. I understand.
It's like an alternative
here in the
wheelchair.
US, we don't have that. Okay? So stop putting it in our faces. Jeez.
You're so jealous of my rich culture and history. Muggle. I do enjoy a good riddle. What about this one? A man dies of thirst in his own home. How is this possible?
Oh. In his own home? He doesn't reach the faucet?
He's too big to reach the faucet. He's the helicopter guy we talked about before.
Oh.
No, apparently the answer to that is that he lives in a boat in the sea and he has no fresh water.
So what exactly happens to the body when it drinks that much salt water?
You like shrivel up, don't you? Well, the salt dehydrates you.
Because, I mean, the reason why they can do it on the island is because on the island it rushes up against the rocks and stuff like that, and it cleans. It's supposed to purify purify the water. So I'm guessing like when you find those, what I'm saying is when you're stranded on the island, you always see people run to the water to drink some water or whatever.
I read this thing, maybe a bit inappropriate, but I read this thing about how like if you find fresh water, but say like a bird's pooped in it or something, and you think you might get poisoned from drinking it, you can actually like take it as an enema, and what that means is that you can like absorb it through your colon quicker, but like without any risk of throwing up or anything. So you can hydrate yourself very quickly, even in like foul water. Apparently, that's like a survival thing that like Bear Grylls did at one point.
Bear Grylls.
Yeah. You think you'd ever resort to that?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I'll survive. I don't know. I think I'll cut a tree, and make it like a nice steak. Get some forks and knives. Eat that bark.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I watched The Lion King earlier. It was pretty good.
The circle of light. All right.
Dude, there were some great moments that, like, I always thought, okay, one of my favorite lines from that movie is Scar, obviously, as he's killing Simba's father, spoiler, and he goes, "Long live the king." Right? Amazing line.
No!
But when I was watching the film, there's this other amazing line. They set up in the film where he's like, I'm going to tell you something my father once told me. Look to the skies. The stars are previous kings all looking down on you. We will always be with you. And then there's this like really cool bit in the middle of the film, like after the dad's gone and everything, where he's like just despairing on a field, and then you realise it's night and he just looks up and he shouts to the heavens, "You said you'd be there for me!" And then like his next line, like he's broken and crying, and he says, "But you're not." Man, like there's some good stuff in The Lion King. Like
I also like when basically Simba drops down and the dust forms up and it spells the word sex. I always like that part too.
Wow, does that really happen?
Yeah, it does. I had the original tape, and it does
Wow.
spell sex in the air. That dust when he's like dropping down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it spells sex.
That's actually.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still there in the Blu-ray version. I didn't see that at all. Maybe I just missed it.
They did a lot of fixes. All right, this is gonna be really bad, but you know in the Little Mermaid,
Oh,
the front
my-
cover.
Do you want to stop?
Yeah. In the front cover, it looks like something. That's what I'm gonna say. It
What?
looks
No,
like
I
something.
gotta look at this.
And they changed the cover. They changed the cover, and now it doesn't look like that anymore.
Little Mermaid.
My friend
DVD,
actually has the original cover.
original cover images. What, the thing with the willy on it?
The willies, all of them are willies. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's kind of hot.
Whoa. Okay, so how many questions left? Is this the last question?
Yeah, last question. Last
question, Bell from Antler.
Hey, it's
See?
Guild Wars 2
Said it right
related
this
as well. Good job on that.
Thank you. Well, I didn't have many.
We had
questions
4
to choose from.
questions. One of them was about the Little Mermaid. Oh no, it was riddles. We got from riddles to Little Mermaid. That's pretty cool. Okay, Emmy Chantel says, question time. With this season of The Living Story winding down, what do you guys hope or want to see in a couple of months when the next season is released?
Man, I would like to see some permanent content. Next. Yeah, you're gonna talk first, because I'm gonna collect my inner thoughts in my ear.
Well, see, this is a difficult question for me to answer, because of our.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen in season 2.
We know how it starts.
Right, exactly, and that's why I was like, that's all I can think about. That's why I can't answer it.
Yeah, like, so I mean, I really can't elaborate on this question.
That's why sometimes we won't pick questions, and sometimes
Okay.
I won't even pick questions in the Q&A because we might know what it is, so it'll be hard to kind of speculate, and we don't want to lie and say something totally stupid, and it's like, really, it's not really what's gonna happen.
Okay, well, look, there is
yeah.
one thing I can say. I want to see a real shift with The Living Story back to the characters themselves. I want to get invested in real character stories. I want more characters to be there. I like some of the mystery elements that The Living Story's been setting up so far, but I don't want it to be so much focused on a villain that has no motivation or is just kind of all ambiguous all the time. I want it to be about characters. If they want this to be like a TV show, I want to care what's happening to these people, and I want to feel real threat for them. I want to feel like they can die at some point or be taken from us or have interesting things happen to them. And that's what I really want to see in the next season of The Living Story. I think they're not going to rope people into their idea without having really strong characterization and interaction between the people they have in their story. So, like, I really want to see a big focus on the story and a lot more quantity each update, just in interactions between NPCs. And that I would be fine with that. I don't even care if my character has that much involvement in it at all. Like, I know a lot of people do care about that because this is an RPG. But if we get really strong characters, at least to watch and face, rather than constantly interact with and manipulate, I'll be happy just with that. Like, that's what I want to see with A Living Story. Grand plans about, major plot arcs and things aside, that is the most key thing for me that I really want to see going forward.
I definitely agree with that, and to add on it, I would definitely want to be engaged into the story because, pretty much I'm not engaged in the Living Story. I want to know more. I would like to see more dialogue, if possible. If possible, they can design it a certain way where you can get more out of the story other than these quick, cut scenes and that's the most of your story.
2-sentence boxes, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want 2-sentence boxes, and I want more dialogue. I want to know what exactly is going on. I want to understand, not like, okay, here's a story. Basically, you can finish the whole living story in like 2 seconds. I mean, they made a video that's 2 minutes long, summing up everything. Really? You didn't need to play it because, I mean, nothing, you didn't miss anything. There was nothing like, there was no clever dialogue choices with like hinting at anything. Like it just leads up to like what it leads up to, and you don't really...
There was this other thing as well, like people have been saying like a lot, oh, is a dragon coming, blah blah blah, in the living story. And I saw one post with this guy that was like refuting it and saying, what are you guys talking about? I wouldn't take any hints that you think you've seen from ArenaNet as meaning anything. And he said, look back to the Zephyrite Sanctum. They called it the Bazaar of the Four Winds. All the concept art made it look like it was going to have something to do with the Tengu City. It walked like a duck. It quacked like a duck. We were sure we were going to go to the Tengu City behind the Dominion of Winds. And then it was just this random thing, the Bazaar of the Four Winds, that came in. So, like, even...
a lot of that going on.
So, like, even so far as that kind of speculation goes, like, I want to see, more realistic... I can't quite figure out how I talk myself onto this, but, like, I want to see more realistic things that, like, so if they're hinting at something or speculating on something, it does mean something, rather than, oh, none of this meant anything, you didn't have to speculate, it can be summed up in 2 minutes, is what I guess I'm getting at. But, yeah, I thought you were going to say flying mounts.
I think I've said that enough. They'll never do that.
That wasn't getting old. I was enjoying those jokes.
No, really?
Yeah, we haven't done one for like 10 episodes.
Should I bring back the racism? Because people seem to like that as well.
Yeah, man. I was having a roar doing the Raven stuff.
I've been watching too
much
Key and Peele and too much Dave Chappelle.
Do they call people monkeys on that show?
No, they don't. They don't call people monkeys on that show. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All right, we enjoyed this podcast, which was amazing, don't you think?
Yeah,
amazing, right? All right, anything you need to add?
No, just that my eyes sting. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, no one cares about.
No one cares about that. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, and stay visual.
Ritlock has no pants.
Wow, you just snuck that in there, huh?